Taurus rising. How you doing, Taurus? This is your reading for the Sagittarius new moon that happened on the 1st of December 2024. It's after the event, and I do apologize for the delay in getting this transit out. This is the final of the all 12 signs, but I work with 6-month cycles. So what comes through in these readings are going to serve you up to the Sagittarius full moon next year in Gemini season, so you're not missing out on anything that's coming through. Hello and welcome. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and as you just heard and as you can see, I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body, both in the form of physical and vocal light language. All of this brings in healing, attunement, and activation codes to the messages that come through in this reading. Now, I read for the rising signs. So for those of you who don't have Taurus in the first house of your natal chart, look to the house that it does fall in. Look to the themes of that house, and you want to apply those themes along with all the other meaning you've got going on in the sign of Taurus. For example, I've got Taurus in the 10th house with my North Node and Black Moon Lilith. So I would apply all of that energy to the messages that come through, because it is if wherever Taurus falls in your chart has now energetically moved to the first house. So the astrology that I'm going to be talking about for the rising sign will still link in. You just got to add on your natal chart meaning on top of it. Right, Taurus rising, where was this new moon for you? What was being activated? This, so I'm going to break down the house that this falls in for Taurus rising. And what sort of intentions you can set, even though this is after the event, you can still tap into that energy. That's my firm belief. And I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to let you know what's going on with the cards, and then we're going to crack on and go a little bit deeper into the astrology. So this was happening in your 8th house, right? This is the house of the outside world's resources and your interaction with it, right? So this can be mortgages, loans, car insurance, debt that's owed to you, as well as debt that you owe. This can be bonuses and commissions, so more one-off chunks of money in terms of like your career, as well as inheritance, both 3D and cosmic inheritance, because it's a very magical house. The other side of the 8th house is it's about the exchange between you and anything other than yourself. So it can be linked into the dynamics of relationships, right? Giving and receiving of time, money, energy, intimacy. This can be on a one-to-one level, as well as with the bigger outside world. Often we can get scarcity complexes, right? And codependency show up in the 8th, and where we're out of balance, where we're not able to receive or not able to or give in healthier ways that serve you and whatever else it is that you're dealing with. It is the house of transformation because of that, right? We're always in this state of transformation when we're interacting with the outside world. Now, I said it was a very magical house. This is because it's your relationship dynamic with Source and the resources of Source. So, intentions you can set with this new moon. 1. If you want a mortgage, if you want a loan, if you want someone to pay back the debt that they owe you, if you're looking for more bonuses and commissions over the next 6 months, you can set intentions around this to activate that energy and bring that more into your life. If you want to elevate certain relationship dynamics in your life, this is a great new moon to set intentions around, as well as just being a bit more in your flow when you're out and about in the world and you're working with the outside world's resources. Now, the flip side to intentions of this, let me do another one. Elevating your relationship with the resources of Source, right? And bringing in a stronger reciprocity of giving and receiving. Now, the flip side, the intentions you can set is you can ask the sun and the moon for this next cycle to reveal to you where there may be a blockage in being able to really embody healthy relationships, really embody a healthy understanding that the universe is abundant. I know so many experiences we've gone through hasn't really recreated that, because we were born in a denser frequency that we're now navigating through in order to really truly believe in the miracles and the abundance. So you can set intentions around, okay, well, what's kind of stuck in my energy field that you can then work with over the next 6 months. So those are the kind of things you can get into. Now, tarot, what's going on with the cards? There are going to be 3 piles. Ooh, that was quick. 3 piles on the selenite, and the first pile is what's the intention, what's the vibe, what's the download coming in for you with this new moon. And so that's going to be pile 1, like really, and that's going to unfold over the next 6 months. If you want a deeper understanding of this moon, I've done a collective reading. That's always the first reading out. And that's where I break down the astrology in even more detail, of how everything is talking to each other at the exact moment of that new moon. And that forms an energetic blueprint, right? A download that we're then collectively working with. Also pulled collective tarot and channeled messages and all of that good stuff. So if this is a particular moon that you feel really drawn to getting a sort of a deeper understanding of, go pause this video, go check that out, and then come back, because it acts as a baseline to what's showing up here in regards to Taurus. So, pile 1. What's the most integrated and expansive intention and doubt for the download that's coming through with this new moon for you, my lovely Tauruses? Pile 2 is what's the challenge and how to work with it. There's several reasons why there may be just a bit more emphasis on the challenge side of this moon, right? And I will break those down. And so pile 2 is what's the challenge and how to work with it. Because so often those things are really helpful to really do some deep inner work and clear some big energy that then allows more space for co-creation with source to come in, and more co-creation with yourself, and not based on what's attached to you during your lifetime. That no longer serves. Pile 3 is going to be some vibe energy, some tips, some tricks of what to focus on to amplify pile 1, where to direct your energy, what to sort of cultivate during the next 6 months that's really going to facilitate pile 1. We're going to get the card at the bottom of the deck at the end of that, and then I'm going to pull some cards on the Mercury retrograde, which is in the sign of Sagittarius. So it's very much linked into the new moon and then the full moon in Gemini, because it's going to go direct 12 hours after that full moon. So it's very much linked into this particular lunation cycle, as well as some other reasons which I'll get to. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards on that, also get the card at the bottom of the deck, and then 1 card from 3 different oracle cards that's is going to sum up. It's going to sum up the reading, as well as bring in whatever wasn't caught during the astrology and the tarot. So Taurus rising, let's get into the weeds of this moon. Well, it was making a grand fire trine, right? This is when all the fire signs have been activated, not only by sign but also by degree, right? So it really amplifies the trine energy, right? And so trines are ruled by Jupiter, and these we've got all 3 of the fire signs coming together to really elevate, right? And so the trine brings things together in order to elevate, expand, bring deeper wisdom, deeper knowing. It's about the bigger picture energy because it's Jupiter. And it also, with that deeper knowing, we get more confident within ourselves, and that's why we often get the vibe of luck and abundance and opportunities with a trine, and a sort of more ease of spirit. So all the fire signs are being activated, and what I really like about this is it's following on from countless grand water trines that we had at the end of the summer and until very recently, where we were doing some really deep work with our emotional body, right, and elevating that and coming to a greater wisdom in our emotional body and our intuition. And then what on earth? I've seen all 3 of those cards. You'll know why I responded in that way. Wild. Haven't had, well, okay, we'll get to it. Sorry, no spoilers. What was I saying? Yeah, so then we had the Taurus full moon, which was the last full moon, and that was about releasing limiting beliefs in the head. For me, that was one of the most powerful moons of the year. It was conjunct Uranus and a fixed star called Algol. Anyway, releasing limitations from the head that stop our physical body, our personal connection to this incarnation, from truly feeling and sensing and knowing that it's in an abundant environment, right? So we've had our emotional body really being elevated. Then we had a nervous reset in our physical vessel. So rather than feeling in a fear state in our body, we're more in a state of flow, state of abundance. And now it's a grand fire trine. And so this is with all that recalibration that we've just gone through, this is then attuning our instincts, right? Fire is instinct. It's the go. It's the not even the second thought, right? It's so part of your instinctive nature that you're not even thinking, you're not even feeling or having an emotional connection. It's just the thing that is happening. So our instincts, right? Very fast moving, very transformative, very independent, very courageous, very passionate energy is all getting recalibrated with this new moon to be in alignment with the magical reality. So we've had our emotional body being sorted out. We've had our physical vessel had a big makeover. And now we've got our instincts coming through, which I'm here for. So we have the North Node over in Aries, right? And that is in your 12th house, your hidden house, your house of mysteries. Also another magical house. All your magical houses are getting activated. Now, all the houses in the chart are magical, but these three have a particular resonance that the ease in which you tap into your magic is fire. So the North Node's been in Aries since July last year. You've been striving into new territory around the themes of the 12th. And this is the hidden house, the house of mysteries, right? It's the unconscious spaces. What's going on behind the scenes? It can feel very personal to you, that Aries energy, yet not necessarily integrated with the rest of the chart. You've had a lot of support with that North Node of striving into new territory with it and expanding on it, of doing that integration since July last year. Now, in those unconscious spaces can be trauma responses and limiting beliefs, right, in the unconscious realms. And that can often be why this house is linked into anxiety, depression, loss, grief, isolation, all of that good stuff. But underneath all of that is the magic of your soul, right, which is the cosmic joke of the universe to put all that stuff, all those sort of layers of our trauma on top of it. And so the whole name of the game is to peel those back to get closer to it. So the North Node, with this new moon that's helping activate healthier relationship dynamics with the outside world and a healthy connection of finding abundance rather than scarcity, of elevating your connection to source in your relationship, as well as I say, like the resources of the outside world. Do you need to have them happen in order to live your own life? Right? That's often a really good way of navigating around that scarcity complex, that sort of potential pain over not getting the things that you need, and stepping you in more into flow and more into your own autonomy. And so that North Node is really helping strive into new spaces beyond the old limiting beliefs, beyond the anxiety, beyond the depression that come from those trauma responses, as well as amplifying the magic of your soul. And then we have Mars over in your 4th of your roots and your foundations in the sign of Leo. Your ancestors, both blood and soul lineage, your parental figures, the roof over your head, and the things that you do in private. So, as I said, cool. I'm here for this reading. So we can tie this all together in the two strands that I'm kind of talking about in terms of the unconscious relationship dynamics that show up and the difficulties around giving and receiving, as well as really strengthening your connection to the magic of yourself. Okay, so Mars in the 4th. One, you're getting a lot of stuff done at home. You've got a real motivation and drive to take action when you're at home. This may be going out and doing things, renovating the house. You know, if you want to move, putting things into action with that. Mars is going to go retrograde on the 6th and 7th of December. 6th for the Americas, 7th for the rest of the world, I believe. And so there's two sides of Mars showing up in these readings. So one, okay, let me just finish what else I was going to say about Mars in the 4th. Noticing, so Mars, it's such a strong energy in your foundations. I feel like this moon is going to be showing Mars represents your motivation, your drive, your instincts, right? It can also be conflict orientated, so there may be some difficult things showing up via actions in the home, always know when that's coming up, because it's helping you. How do we work around that? How do we find a different perspective? Now, Mars in the 4th, along with the North Node in Aries, which is striving beyond the unconscious responses. Mars in the 4th with the ancestors and your parental figures. There's a lot of trauma here, right? And so in regards to the love languages that we learn in our early years from the people around us, and also things that we've taken on from our ancestors and our past lives, and that's impacted our motivation, our drive, and our actions, how we take action via the heart, Leo. And so Mars is really going to be helping you understand that by observing your actions, right? So get in observer mode and observe what you're instinctively driven to do, because one, it's going to highlight where are those love languages that you learned from all those things I just said. Where is it then influenced how you then recreate those love languages out in the world? It doesn't just have to be romantic. It's with anybody and everything. They may have diminished the capacity to really be able to give and receive in healthy ways and all of that stuff. And then that North Node is then helping you put things into practice behind the scenes, perhaps some sort of mental rituals that you might do, some intentions that you set, when you're sort of isolated with yourself, and like putting that into practice, and then seeing what comes up in those unconscious spaces that you can then recalibrate. Now, the other side of this is really also noticing through your actions, through your instinctive movement at home, a lot of support and wisdom coming through, and embodied wisdom with that action from your ancestors, in alignment with like pushing forward into the magic of your soul, and then elevating your relationship with source, that you're then able to put into practice at home, and really, really, really strengthen your foundational space, right? It's the root system. We need a good root system in order to grow and expand. And I definitely can feel any blockages around motivation and drive that's going to come up over the next 6 months, or certain difficult relationship dynamics. You're going to be able to really elevate your individual momentum by Mars being in that 4th house. Of a realignment with your root system that's serving you moving into the new territory. So those are all of the fire energies being activated. Now we want to look to the ruler of Sagittarius, because whatever's going on with the ruler is influencing what's going on with this moon. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and it's over in the sign of Gemini. It's opposite. And so this is in your 2nd house of your resources, your skills and tools of how to manifest and bring in a regular income, right? It is sort of, as I said, it's the regular income rather than one-off chunks of money. It's also the things that you value, and most importantly, how you value yourself. You don't value yourself truly, madly, deeply, utterly, then you then can put your value into things that then reflect that, right? And so it's actually quite distorted. And you also can't elevate those skills and tools and truly believe in your capacity to manifest if you're like, I'm not worthy. And we all suffer from this, even those of us who are incredibly confident, right? There's always a niggle, because it's part of the collective energy. So Jupiter's there, and Jupiter is retrograde. Jupiter in the 2nd, if you haven't caught the Jupiter in Gemini transit series, it's in the Jupiter playlist. It's easy to find. I do still recommend it, because we still got Jupiter going to be in Gemini for, I think we're at just over the midpoint of the whole transit. You're also not going to have it there for another 12 years. So if you want to amplify that energy, go check out that series, the collective reading. That energy that came through with Jupiter and Gemini is so powerful. Now, Jupiter makes things big. Jupiter helps bring a sense of faith, a sense of knowing, a sense of confidence, a sense of expansion. And just there's an ease of spirit, there's a generosity of spirit. Now, one side of Jupiter being in the 2nd is spending a little bit too much money. So be mindful of that. Just know that although Jupiter's retrograde at the moment, so you're not feeling that side of it so much. But overall, a deeper wisdom of who you are and how you value yourself, a deeper wisdom and expansion with your skills and your tools. Some of you may be getting more regular money as well. But it's retrograde at the moment. And so it's drawing all of those those resources and all of that expansion from the outward world into your inner world. Jupiter retrograde can often mean questioning a lot of things, which is a very important part of our learning process. Bit of critical thinking going on when Jupiter is retrograde. And you may find that there may have been some restrictions around the abundance, restrictions around opportunities, but just know this is all part of taking you to where you need to be for when it starts to go direct and what you truly need coming through. It may be really helping you like get to the truth of how you value yourself, and maybe noticing certain things that you used to value that you don't value anymore. But as I said, it's a 12-year cycle, so it's activating a longer, more expansive energy for you in the long run. But it is retrograde, and so it is about revising, revisiting, going back over things. It's not a very fast energy. It's an inner energy. You also may see these things show up in the 3D as well, of where like there's just been, you know, this energy of an abundant opportunity, but it may be a time delay on it, right? So Mercury rules Gemini. Where's Mercury? Well, in Sagittarius. So they're in each other's realms, right? And this is what's called a mutual reception. And they're basically psychically hotlined to each other. They're facilitating each other's journeys. They're making it more that these two, each other can be more in their flow in these realms. And they're also, because there's a feedback loop back and forth in terms of rulership, they're ruling the whole chart for this moon. That you may notice that something's going on in the 2nd that facilitates the activations in the 8th, and vice versa, and like a bouncing back between the two. Now, Mercury's retrograde as well. And as I said, this is one of the reasons why challenges have come up quite strongly, and it's not anything that we can't handle. It's just simply because of all this energy that's going on, right? All of the frequency is asking us to really deep dive so we can launch off. And this is also why I've felt very inclined in all of the readings to say trust the process, because you may get a bit frustrated with the delays of the retrograde energy, and you just got to trust it and know that whatever is unfolding is going to serve, and you just got to let that happen and be open to change, because we're dealing with mutable energy here. Now, Taurus, your fixed energy, right, can be stubborn. I say that as someone whose chart is mostly fixed, and I've got a mutable sun, so that helps me navigate that. But that awareness of like why that if there are some sort of contained energies that you work with, this is really trying to shake that up. To serve you. So Mercury retrograde over in the 8th. Healthy conversations about giving and receiving, right? Really going back and forth and deepening the way that you're processing the resources from source, processing the downloads, what you're drawn to as well, because you might be drawn to things that activate scarcity. And I definitely feel like this is shifting so you can roam in a new pathway. Right? And so, yeah, communicating with others, having healthy conversations that you might need to go back and forth over in terms of giving and receiving and resources. There may be an opportunity that's come up that you're just having to go back and forth over the contract and deal with that. Trust in that. But yeah, overall, like really reflecting also on how you communicate. It might not be communicating outwardly with others, of how you communicate with yourself. Oh, hello. With yourself of that 8th house of the reciprocity and how that influences your own sense of value. This is a great time to really do some inner work on that, with the Jupiter being in the 2nd house as well, because Jupiter's all about the higher perspective and Mercury's all about the details. So it is recalibrating how we interact with the information around us, right? How do we perceive it, and then how we communicate it and implement it. Yeah, so there's a real strong Mercurial and Jupiter energy that's coming together and working together in a way that is genuinely elevating our perspective. Now, Mercury at the time of this new moon was trine Chiron over in Aries, right? And so Chiron is the master teacher, the wounded healer, and it's in your 12th house. You've been there for a while, so you've been doing some deep work on those unconscious realms. Right? Often wherever Chiron is in your chart, as well as transiting, is activating some core archetypal wounds in order for you to become like a master healer of it, right? And healing comes in every profession. It really does. It really does. It's wild how we are we're a species of healers. And so Chiron in the 12th talking to Mercury in the 8th. Again, a trine. So wisdom, elevation, expansion, a deeper confidence and understanding, right? And so this can be very much, I'm getting lots of different things with this. One, you having conversations with Source that is helping reveal the wounds in the 12th. And they're also helping activate the magic of your soul, coming into a deeper resonance and understanding, perhaps by conversations you're having with other people, with the outside world, around that reciprocity that is then doing some deep healing work with you in those unconscious spaces. As well as just generally a lot of deep inner work, right? Of having healthier conversations with yourself about your incarnation and how you're showing up and how others are showing up for it in a way that you're not right. The 8th house can often like really externalize our needs and our emotional body and putting it all in the outside world. So setting that intention to move away from that, you're then going to just discover so many things that are actually the truth of yourself, with that Chiron energy in the 12th. So yeah, we've got a big transit around how we perceive and where it's caused us wounds, right? Aries is very much the I am of it all. And if we bring that into relationship dynamics, and it's hidden from you a little bit being in the 12s, of bringing more of the I am into the reciprocity space. Oh, I don't get that card very often. Right, that I'm going to touch on two things very quickly. I'm not going to go into any detail there over in the collective reading. One, this Jupiter and the moon was square Saturn, right? Over in the sign of Pisces. Which is in your hopes and dreams, friends, groups and alliances, and reaping the benefits from your 10th house. So Saturn's making sure we're building from a place of maturity and responsibility and integrity. So all in terms of resources of the outside world, interactions with it, reciprocity with how you value yourself, your skills and tools, hopes and dreams, reaping the benefits from the 10th house. Can see this with an elevation of your career in terms of being able to work with the resources of the outside world and yourself in order to then reap more benefits, right? This may be going on a course from the outside world or having a project where it's not to do with your resources, but your skills are noticed and Saturn's like, hey, you're going to reap some benefits from that, as well as building towards your hopes and dreams in a really responsible and mature way, which is what we all need to do. With fun, with a smile on our face while we do it. There may be certain situations where you're seen with more authority in bigger groups. It's then allowing you to feel more good about yourself and how you move forward. Venus is also doing some cool stuff in Capricorn. Both Venus and the moon are out of bounds, and this means that they are above the arc of the sun rather than between the sun and the earth. They're between the sun and the rest of the universe. So it's very forward thinking, non-conventional energy that's coming through with Venus and the moon. And Venus is up with Ceres in your 9th house of your perspectives, how you map yourself out with the world. So there's a realignment with your emotional body beyond the blockages of healthy giving, lack of healthy giving and receiving, and we can always elevate that. And Venus is making me feel good about being on this planet. Right, all the cards are out. Let's begin with the first pile that blew my tiny little mind. Can you see why? Can you see why? So we got the King of Swords, the Knight of Swords in reverse, and the Queen of Swords. So at the root is the King of Swords, and then your journey through it is the Knight of Swords in reverse and the Queen of Swords. So the King of Swords is that sense of maturity and clarity of thought and acting on it from a place of empowerment, right? From a place of strength and sovereignty, right? Not doubting yourself, right? Knowing clearly what decisions you need to make when it comes to the resources of the outside world, when it comes to your relationship dynamics. For some of you, this may be cutting some people off, and that will be in alignment with your soul contracts. Trust and believe. But obviously that's not for everyone, but there is just more of a sense of you taking no more nonsense. As well as getting really clear downloads from source and your capacity to act on them with confidence and trust. You know, I really like how that King of Swords is that it wanted to be the first card out, right, at the root of, especially tied in with that Mars energy in the fourth of, and the North Node, all of that stuff about love languages that we pick up really early on that aren't really anything to do with us. They are, but they're also not. And that King of Swords knows the truth of themselves. And so there's a real sense of coming back to that, back to the truth of yourself, beyond the entanglement, beyond the entanglement and the conditioning. And that's society as well. We then got the Knight of Swords, and this is the movement through it. The Knight of Swords with the Queen of Swords is through this transit, there's a sense of slowing down. Right, the Knight of Swords is the fastest horse in tarot. It's quite frenetic in its energy, like very quick to words, almost quick to combat with words, or quick to impulse, right? And taking impulsive actions that come from a distortion rather than the truth. And it's come in reverse. So I feel like there's a slowing down of that energy. There's a release of that freneticism. And that sort of the needing things to happen at a certain pace as well, because a lot of this is saying trust in the process, trust in the unfolding. And so I really like that that's come up with the Queen of Swords, big sword energy. So this is all about your perspectives and how your perspectives has influenced your instincts, and they're getting an alignment, right? So your perspectives are reorientating to where your instincts are taking you. Especially with the unconscious realms and that fourth house energy and that sort of perception of lack, that perception of scarcity. We then have the Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Swords, you notice her head is above the clouds, right? So it's acknowledging that there may have been some difficult circumstances that's kind of led you to perhaps be more of this impulse that doesn't actually serve, right? And the Queen of Swords has realized, if you notice, there are birds on all of the sword court cards, and the Queen has one above her crown chakra. So I think that's the solar star chakra plexus thing. Sorry, that didn't sound very professional. But anyway, there's this clarity of the message of the truth that's coming through your higher self, from your higher self, and being integrated. And I love the Queens. Queens cultivate energy. They bring nuance and depth to something. They refine it, right? They really observe and strengthen the foundations in order for the king to take action. And if you see, her hand is open. She's open to receive, right? She knows she's come from a frequency that hasn't necessarily been that great, but she's open to this new frequency. And so I really love this as the unfolding of that energy from the King of Swords. So this is saying that there's gonna be an energy that's slowing you down so you can really cultivate this King of Swords. And that receiving, you know, from source, from the downloads, from others, from the outside world. Right, the challenge and how to work with it. High Priestess in reverse, the Eight of Cups, and the Queen of Wands. So the challenge, High Priestess in the upright, is she knows she's drawing towards her that which brings abundance and fertility. She's not having to worry, she's not having to plan. She is very tapped into the inner truth of the universe, right? Where her needs are being met, she's being nourished, her emotional body is vibrant, right? It's the Moon's card, and it's in reverse. And this is so appropriate for the 8th house of that fear, right? Of Am I just going to be in the same relationship with my friends, with my family, with my lover? Am I going to be in the same relationship with the outside world, where I don't trust that the things that I need are coming towards me because of previous experiences? So this is the challenge that's coming up that they want you to look at. Now, this could be happening externally, right? Of genuinely not seeing that abundance come in, not having that second sight. This also can be a blockage around your communication with source and your relationship with source. Itala, dishini moto fiela, they're just doing some work around the third eye. Itala, dieni moto ela. So all of these sort of, this lack of flow, this lack of knowing within yourself, right? Also that Jupiter retrograde over in the second of not trusting in your own value, right? The High Priestess is not about that. She's all about full-blown trust, and that trust has turned into knowing, right? So this feels actually genuinely just more inner, right? That is just getting you, the intention is for the inner experience, but there may be situations that are recreating your feeling of this in the outside world. We then have the Eight of Cups, and this is Saturn in Pisces. And this card for me is all about moving away from unconscious responses that are so ingrained that they feel comfortable, even though they don't actually serve us. And this is all about the courage to observe that and then make the decision to walk away, to get a higher perspective. So they're saying there's some stuff floating around you that's absolutely nonsense. I get this card a lot, right? And so you then, like, putting in that effort of moving away from that and putting in the practice, because these things are hard to break because they're so ingrained. I recommend breath work's a really powerful one, where if you don't want to do talk therapy, breath work will really help just release things. You've got no idea what they're releasing, but your energy field gets a lot clearer with things like that. Obviously do whatever feels right for you, but your emotional body is kind of screaming and going, we're not in this realm anymore. This isn't what we're taking forward. And we got the Queen of Wands, of how to tap into it. So we've got two queens showing up here. This is all about the cultivation of your inner world, your inner spark, your inner passion, your inner confidence, your inner independence, your inner courage. Now, the Queen of Wands, she has the sunflower, and the sunflower's nowhere to go to get the light. And she's got a lucky black cat. So it is calling you to recalibrate and focus on your instincts, right? You observe where they are distorted and then put in practices to cultivate moving away from that frequency, right? And also this is very much about what I said about bringing the I am, right? She's highly independent. Look at the way she's sitting. It's a very sort of, she's not conforming, right? She's really embodying in her own instincts and her own passions, and it's calling you to do that, right? So maybe spending time by yourself, cultivating that energy, and then showing up with that when you're interacting with the world. How to work with and amplify pile 1. Oh, you got a bonus card. So we have the Six of Swords, the Ace of Cups, the Two of Swords that I think genuinely has shown up for every sign, Moon in Libra, and the Sun. So we've got the Six of Swords, and the Six of Swords is all about knowing that you are leaving into new territory. You're going off into new territory where the water is calmer, right? Where it's not all troubled water. And this is about the period of time of contemplating the core perspectives, and this is so in alignment with this, the core perspectives that are going to serve you to thrive, right? And really focusing on that rather than the old habits, right? It's not that you shouldn't observe the old habits, but but you're observing them in order to figure out what you want to take with you into the new realm. We then have the Ace of Cups, focus on the love, focus on the peace, focus on the abundance. And this is going to be very helpful to sort of bring that energy, bring that clarity in. So this is really beautiful. This is really summing up everything, like the peace in your unconscious realms, the peace that you have outside with the world, the love that you feel for your home, all of those things. So it's calling you, one, to think about those core perspectives, right, that you can take with you into this new landscape, as well as reorientating how you're perceiving things, and focus on the love, focus on the calm, focus on the abundance. We then got the Two of Swords in reverse. Two of Swords upright for me. This figure has just landed at a new realm, right? They've crossed the ocean. They've left their homeland, and now they're going inwards to find their inner equilibrium. Hello, Moon and Libra, of who they were and who they are and who they want to be in the new realm. It's come up in the reverse. So the universe is hinting at you, you are in this, or they're letting you know, you're in this realm, as well as focusing on what you want to take with you into the new realm from a place of love, from a place of abundance. They're also saying, act like you're already there and you're already doing it. Itoela diceni molto ela, diceni molto fela. Like, even if those situations around you aren't mimicking it, when that shit card shows up, especially for this, is like, it's getting a bit delulu, getting a bit delusional in the best possible way of you know, the mind doesn't understand sarcasm. So the trick is, right, say you've got a gripe about how you're feeling in your body, right? And you go, and instead of being sarcastic in a negative way, you be, oh, it's so great that I feel so great, right? And you know you're being sarcastic, but your brain just hears great, 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 great. So there's something around that in the way that you're communicating internally, as if everything that you want in terms of those themes are true. And just, that's the main thing that I'm getting with that. And that's kind of tied in with the sun. Just focus on the joy, focus on the freedom, focus on the lightness. It's also telling you to look a little bit at your inner child, not surprising, and find ways of helping that child feel this. You may want to look to where your sun is as like clues of how to work with it. But overall, this is saying focus on the abundance. It's the biggest yes card, right? All of that is just leading to, it is a shift in the perspective that's coming through. And to help amplify this and really get clear is orientate yourself to the pleasure in your life, right? And I know that's, you know, a really obvious thing to say, but they're doubling down on that really, 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 really loudly. And also, you know, figuring out, okay, what do you truly want? What do you truly want in these experiences? Okay, bottom of the deck. 9 of Pentacles. This figure is very independent. They know what they need to do in order to bring about a holistic life. Happy home, happy work, happy friends, happy all the things. But it's meant that they, you know, perhaps sometimes said no to people when they needed to focus on the thing that they were doing, right? It is that confidence of boundaries and the I am and the implementation of it in the 3D, right? I really love this at the end because we've got the 4th house activated, which is the home. And then your skills and tools, your regular income and bonuses and commissions. So there might be really something lovely coming over the next 6 months around the elevation of that, way you're having more good times at home, right? It's releasing the anxiety you may be feeling about all of those things, as well as just genuinely acting from the truth of yourself when it comes to relationships as well, right? Say you've given a lot to somebody and it's not that you expect it back, but it's just a bit of a clunky energy where you're feeling drained. You're not feeling that Ace of Cups. You've given from your cup and not your saucer. And that 9 of Pentacles is a hard no on that kind of energy. Right, love this vibe. Big Queens, cultivating your instincts, your sense of self, your passions, your drives, your light. Bringing that into, how do you want to show up with the world? How do you want the world to show up with you? How do you want your home life to be? Your connection to your ancestors, really building your foundational space, navigating, bringing all of that magic together, right? By focusing on the joy, focusing on the play. And just love this reading, really love this reading, Taurus. But it does involve moving away from this being a block. This is really cool, which I'm taking on board for myself as well. Right, Mercury retrograde, what's the intention? So you got the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands. You've got the King of Swords as well. So we're dealing with fire and air here, and you've got both the court cards for that. Really love that yin and yang energy of like cultivating and being able to act on it. Right, so this Mercury retrograde is getting you in your power, right? Getting really confident. really independent and passionate and instinctive in your nature, right? Sovereign, not not giving up your sovereignty anymore, right? So love that for the Mercury retrograde, of you really getting in your confidence here, really feeling that strength of you're making the right decisions that serve you for the long term. How you're perceiving information, right? How you're communicating is coming with that King of Wands. Now, the challenge. Hello, the devil. Hello, Capricorn. So this is kind of tying into everything that I've just said, of like things that have bound you, right? Love languages, past situations that may have sort of turned into sort of neglect or addiction, especially with the inner child showing up, can often sort of focus on distorted pleasures that don't serve you in the long term, right? This is also about binds around your understanding of the magic within you that have they like this one, right? That sort of very sort of practical, rational, earthly energy that isn't allowing all of that magic to come through, and sort of the chains that have blocked you from connecting to source. Itala, oh my ears, chatina, yalama, Dishani ma dishani mo toela. I just heard that there are things that you haven't been able to hear. Itoela dishana ma yoyana. Itinia toshania. Also relationship dynamics that are addictive, that kind of vibe, all of that. Itoela Diana, remember, King of Wands is the intention. Itoela dishania. How to work with this energy. We've got the moon. So this is Pisces. Itoela dishania. Up where Saturn is. Itofiela diania. Focus on your hopes and dreams. Right? Focus on what you want to reap from your life. What's of value to you, right? And you know, that can be this sense of satisfaction in this incarnation, this sense of nourishment and resonance, whatever it is for you. But it's also saying get super psychic, get soft, trust in the things that aren't really clear and really obvious. Allow the unseen realms to work their way into your space. This may be you just spending 5 minutes a day setting the intention to be open to receive, right? Without any expectation from all of the magical realms of the moon. This is also about evolution. You see the wolf and the dog, right? That instincts and that which has been conditioned. And then we got the path up the two pillars. And the two pillars are linked into in the high priestess of the unseen and the seen realms. So it's saying there's an evolutionary journey of your emotional body. And you might not have all the answers. It is the moon. We don't see everything in moonlight. But to trust in the process and trust in the synchronicities and the little whispers that you may hear, right, over with this cycle, because it's really going to help you get out of the like traditional blocks of the rational 3D world. Bottom of the deck, 3 of Cups. Flow. I love this for the 8th, right? So this is being around with others, feeling good. They're all in sort of union with each other. They're all giving, they're all receiving, they're all playing. There's a lot of abundance, there's a lot of joy, right? And this is really beautiful. One, both of like you and your guides in the 12th, you with source in the 8th, you with the ancestors in the 4th, as well as healthier 3D relationship dynamics, you know, a release of anxiety and fear and worry in the 12th. And, you know, this might be having a lot more parties at home, right, with Mars in the 4th, as well as you feeling very motivated from your root system, that is then allowing this energy that feels very strongly that it wants to come through, that it just requires a little bit more work to really activate it. Right, the oracle cards in the order that was shuffled. First up, we have from the 4 Agreements Oracle, which is based on a book written by a Virgo sun. The deck was given to me by a Gemini rising. It's a very mercurial deck. I always bring it out when Mercury's being a boss. Recommend the 4 Agreements to anybody. You follow those 4 agreements and your life will change. It's a very short book and I believe it's quite cheap. Don't take anything personally. Embrace your freedom. Well, that's summed up everything, right? Love that when that happens. You gain a huge amount of freedom when you take nothing personally, right? So you didn't get that job offer. You didn't get that bonus. You didn't get that healthy relationship. All of those things can drag us down, 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 because we don't value ourselves and because we think it's all about the fact that we aren't of value, right? So when we put in the practice to step out of that space, oh my God, everything just energy shift. No spell can affect you regardless of how strong it may be. And if you live without fear, if you love, you will be happy with your life. Love. I don't think I really need to say that. And it's interesting that it's like embrace your freedom, but there are two birds here. So there is that sense of reciprocity again, right? Of you with the outside world. And by embracing your freedom and not taking things personally, you're able to draw towards you situations and scenarios that aren't in conflict anymore. Right. Oh, this is funny. This is from Rainbow Brainskull, my new favorite oracle deck. Where are we? Number 36. Ooh, that was a bit of a Freudian slip. Connection is the only game. Right? You've got to reconnect back to yourself and with source, and that is going to then open up that connection. Put the pieces of the puzzle together. Hello. Fourth house of wounds, imprinted in the 12th, showing up in the 8th. Instead of worrying about the million things that need to get done, focus on the one common thread between them, your ability to make things happen. This is both your reconnection to that Ace of Cups, right? That feels really strong. That then leads you to the connection that is being elevated in the 8th. I am here for that. And it is about just getting up and doing the damn thing, right? Getting out of a level of stagnation in the way that you're perceiving and trying to take action, all this fire, from that 6, from what you've come up with, from that, right? And so often we can get kind of jaded with our relationships, even if there's love there, for various reasons. Now, for whatever sort of things that may be floating around, writing them down and burning them, be safe with fire, because we've got Jupiter and Gemini in swords of air, of communication, and Mercury in that fire energy can be a really healthy way of letting go of those things. And also that 6 of Swords is often, those 6 of Swords are like the irritations or the resentments or whatever that's been building up disappear, because that 6 of Swords is like goes underneath all of that, goes to the core. Like what were you going to care about in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, right? You're probably not going to care about whether somebody is always say you're always paying for someone's lunch and they never come round, and they've got the money to offer, right, to pay. They're just expecting you to do it, and it's not really a dynamic that, you know, is warrants that kind of behavior. And then it just builds up and builds up. You know, you can reflect, okay, what do I love about this person? What actually nourishes me about this person? And if there's some core stuff there, focus on that. And then it's about having a healthy conversation, or writing it down and burning it and getting over it, whatever you want to do. Okay, so we have Moon Maiden, New Beginnings. I haven't seen this card from this deck for ages. New ideas, beginnings, curiosity. The Moon Maiden arrives to offer you a new beginning, a new face and facet of yourself that is aching to be shown to the world. Those qualities that you've been quietly cultivating are ready for the limelight. The secrecy was important, for it protected your new face and kept what was precious close to your heart. But now's the time to come forward in full splendor. Announce the new you to yourself first. Reveal it slowly to the world, like the waxing moon. Allow others to be surprised by how mature and grown up this side of you is. Now it's time to set yourself free. That one sentence, all of this, Itoela especially, with this and the High Priestess in reverse. Itoela tishanimo. Is that in sync? Tishanimo toela. The Moon Maiden belongs only to herself. Oh, I love this. And she is summoning the parts of you that challenge convention, that refuse to be intimidated, and that cannot be tamed or put inside a golden cage. The Moon Maiden invites you to shine with your own light. have radiant curiosity, and to ask anyone who offers you a mouthful of dogma, why do you believe this is so? Question everything others assume is a given, and do not collude with the drama around you. Become an unpredictable being, yet an eminently reliable friend. The Moon Maiden invites you to answer only to yourself and reminds you that you are not anyone's property. Be true to your soul's calling, even as some around you in a relationship or a job want to capture your light inside a bottle. You know how to rise to the occasion, just as unfailingly as the moon does. When the time comes, you return to darkness and become enshrouded in mystery until you are ready to return. Oh, sorry, I was out of whack with that. That was beautiful. Oh, I love that with that and the queens of like, and the sun, I mean, and everything that came through of like, you're reorientating. I'm just sorry, I just laughed. I'm just looking at the bottom of the deck. I felt cool too, from Rainbow Brainskull, as the final message. What are the things you care about? It ain't always gonna be dirt. So spot on. Everything big was once a tiny version of itself. The universe itself was once the size of a sesame seed. Trust that if you consistently show up and make the effort, your dreams will come to fruition. Again, tying everything in. Water that which brings you joy. Water that which is going to nourish you, right? And just do it every day. These practices, this reorientation, this shifting to all of this. Practice every day. It's going to take time. It's a new moon. It's going to unfold. I'm here for this energy. This was beautiful. I'm taking all of this on board for myself as well. This felt like a good one. Okay, Taurus, be good to yourselves. Be good to those around you. Safe travels and be well until we meet again.